We are back with 4A-D1 UIL volleyball playoff preview. If you watched the previous video, you saw our layout of D2. You will see one name overlaid because I didn't have Memorial's enrollment numbers, so I guessed and put them in D2. And then this morning I found out they'll actually be in D1, so you'll see Memorial in this bracket as well, which I actually think is good news because I think Memorial's going to win their first gold ball being in D1. But let's start at the top of the bracket like we did yesterday, and we'll work our way down. And, we talked about it in the D2 bracket is the District 1, District 2 matchups aren't an area that we typically cover. They're the El Paso schools. Yes, they're Region 1, but that market's really far from us. And so we don't get to see them. We don't cover them. And so this is kind of educated guess. I went with San Elizario. I just looked at some common opponents that they had, and that's where we went. One of the really good games of this bracket is game 2, the Andrews-Dumas matchup. And as you work your way through this bracket, or if you even look at the way this goes, I am a big Andrews fan. I saw them for the first time this year down at Bev Ball in Abilene and was uber impressed. Obviously, Rylan Newbrow catches a lot of the praise, and she is a phenomenal sophomore. And with her move to outside this year, she played middle last year, she is just an absolute force offensively. Just passed 500 career kills a few weeks ago. Golly, it's probably been a month now. It's amazing how fast volleyball season is flying. But the Lady Mustangs are not just Rylan. You've got Junior Danley Fisher, who just crossed 1,000 digs and is a big reason why that ball doesn't hit the court on the Andrews side. You have Emma Sauceda, who just crossed 1,500 career assists and 200 aces. Coach Dykes has a very well-rounded team, and let me get you through that. I think that Dumas is one of those teams that you never know what to expect because they're young, and for the most part, they have won the games you kind of expect them to win, and they've kind of lost some of the games you think they're going to lose. But then Coach Atterbury's group jumps up and knocks off somebody like Canyon 3-1. And so don't underestimate Dumas here. They've got a puncher's chance. First off, when you're young and you're rebuilding with youth, that is a really, 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 really hard district to do that in because you have West Plains, you have Randall, you have Canyon, you have Hereford. Hereford was actually in this playoff slot last year. And if you'd have asked me coming into the season, I would have told you I kind of thought they'd be there again, especially with Dumas's youth. And Dumas has done a phenomenal job. But I think that Andrews has far too much firepower in this first round match, and we're going to see them move through. You'll see them. We talked about it yesterday. I don't think that El Paso, even with great ball control, can hang with them. That region, and I'm going to come back to that regional semifinal matchup in just a second. And so we move down, and you have Friendship Memorial versus Graham. This is, I talked about it yesterday on D2 because we thought they'd be there. This is a really young Memorial team because this is their first year open. It kind of will remind you, and here's what's really incredible. Is when you think about first-year programs, we've seen Lubbock Cooper Liberty, we've seen Eagle Mountain all open in the past 3 years, and they just open with really, really, really quality teams. And though they show their youth at times, they're really good. And that describes Memorial as well. And I think they're going to be a little too much for Graham, and they're going to win their first gold ball in volleyball in school history next week. And so, and then on the bottom half of that little bracket right there is Decatur and Eastern Hills. Congratulations on making the playoffs, Eastern Hills. You drew one of the toughest cards in 4A. the defending state champions, led by Coach Stormy Snyder, who, just a little programming note, was a standout at WT. And she took over that program last year for Coach Forster as she moved over to Eagle Mountain, who we talked about in D2. She had been there 4 years. Decatur had won 2 state championships. We are talking about a powerhouse volleyball program. And so they will advance, I believe, fairly easily to that regional semifinal. And that Andrews-Decatur matchup, man, that's one that you want to be at. That is that is going to be worth the price of admission. Decatur, they have Ava Green, who brings a ton of offense. They've got a freshman, Gracelyn Byford, who is phenomenal. They've got their setter, Grace Fortune. Once again, there is a reason they are defending state champions. And I will tell you, it took everything in me not to pick Andrews in this matchup. I think Andrews has the firepower. They have the talent to get to the regional final. But you'll hear me talk about this in every playoff bracket. Knowing how to win is as important as being talented come playoff time. When it's win or go home, knowing how to get in the deep water and come out with the win, that is a trait that is learned, it is refined, it is passed on from generations, because once it's learned, one group of seniors passes it on to the next and the next. It's the reason you see teams like the Bushland Falcons go to state year after year after year and win 4 out of 5. With their only setback being a second place finish that year to Gunner. Once you learn how to win, it makes a difference. And there is not a team in 4A that knows how to win as well as Decatur. And so, man, I think that, and here's what's crazy. You know, sometimes, and we've seen it over the years, you'll see really, 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 really good volleyball. And you may look back at it later and think, oh, well, that was a 3-0 match. And what you don't see is the box score that says it was 25-23. It was 29-27 in set 2. Just 1 or 2 points makes all the difference. And, man, it's just you can't bet against Decatur. And so when doing a prediction / preview here, I took Decatur over the Lady Mustangs, but it will not shock me if the Lady Mustangs advance through this. And that's going to be one of the best playoff matchups. And so now we go down to the bottom half. We got the El Paso schools, Ysleta and Irvin. And the winner, congratulations, you're drawing West Plains. West Plains will catch Seminole in the first round, then they'll handle the El Paso school in round 2 to get to that regional semifinal matchup. That's a matchup to me with Springtown, and we'll get to them in a second. But let me tell you a little bit about West Plains. They got D1 commit Anaya Kitchen. She's phenomenal. You've got Kinsey Ward, who I forget where she's going to play, but I know that I think I saw just the other day that she was committed. They got extra. You'll find offense in Tegan Hudson. Bella Weinberg has a plethora of options to set as she's doling out assists. Sotelo back there digging everything on the back row. You'll find that all these great teams, man, you cannot just speak enough about their liberos. They have great ones. And so I expect West Plains to roll pretty easily into that regional semifinal matchup. And the area matchup on the next row down is really where I get fired up, because that Stephenville Big Spring game, Stephenville's going to outgun Big Spring. Springtown versus Southwest, same thing. A lot of firepower. And this sets up an area round rematch from last year. And Stephenville actually won that match in 5. They actually came out of the 5th set with a 15-13 win. That tells you how close that match was. Springtown led it 2-1. And then Stephenville mounted their comeback. And so I just think that this year, and I haven't got to watch Stephenville in person. I've watched some Springtown online because one of our favorite people, Alyssa Forbes, plays for them. She, like us, are former Bushland Falcons. And so, but man, Springtown's talented. They're deep. They've got good size at the net. I expect that they will pull that out. And so you'll have a regional semifinal matchup here of West Plains and Springtown. And I believe that this is just too much firepower from West Plains. They will get through Springtown, and we will see. On the prediction side, this is a rematch of last year's regional final. Decatur versus West Plains. Obviously, Decatur won that as they went on to win state. But this, you could argue that Decatur plays a couple state final match quality games along the way. That maybe were even better games. I thought the West Plains one last year was one that was absolutely phenomenal. I get fired up about 4A-D1 because there's those two regional semifinals. Y'all, they are worth the price of admission. That regional final, whether it's West Plains, Springtown, Andrews, Decatur, you're going to be in for incredible volleyball. A little bit of me kind of hopes that, not a little bit, a lot of me, because I'm a big Andrews Lady Mustangs fan. I'm just going to throw that out there. I love watching great volleyball. Decatur tends to be a little further away. We don't really cover them on a weekly basis. So it's nothing against Decatur and Coach Schneider and her crew. I'm a big Lady Mustang fan, but I would love, I'd love to see a West Plains Andrews match. And then in D2, we have it predicted to be Liberty versus Canyon Randall. Let's put those in the same place. Let's do them in the same day. I know it's a little advantage to the CISD schools because some of the fans will overlap, and I'm sure they'll root for each other. But man, that would be the place to be if we could get a doubleheader between Andrews and West Plains and Randall Liberty in the regional finals. Heck, even if it's Decatur West Plains, let's figure out a way to make that work and do a doubleheader of 4A. I miss regional tournaments. I think most coaches would tell you they miss regional tournaments. And I won't even get into the regional semifinal site selection because that's a whole nother, you don't want me on a soapbox kind of deal. If you want to go look those up and help me understand how Region 1's playing in Fort Worth for a regional semifinal and all the travel that'll be entailed, that's neither here nor there. But I miss regional tournaments. Let's bring those back. Let's figure that out because getting great volleyball and getting this back to back, it's just fun. So good luck to all the teams in 4A-D1. It's going to be fun. And man, sit tight. Those regional semifinals, man, they're going to be good. We'll talk to you soon. We'll be back with our next one. I think we're going to jump down to 3A next. And we will see you soon. But that is 4A Division I playoff preview.